Good morning, friends and allies. It is almost 10 a.m. We are here for a tournament here at Gigabytes. It's a 700-point tournament, and it's an SEML tournament, Southeastern Middle-earth League. I am bringing 700 points worth of Ents, so I'm shooting for wooden spoon today. I'm just here to have fun. I don't know the scenarios. They're predetermined. We're not doing the veto system. I figured I'd go ahead and make some guesses before we go in. I think that we're gonna do either Lords of Battle or Contest of Champions, like a leader or kills based scenario. I think we're gonna do like heirlooms of ages past, because people usually avoid that one. I think we're gonna do Fog of War, just to kind of have that variance in the scenarios. And yeah, but anyway, I'll try to make some updates throughout the tournament, but here we go. That looks way better than what I did.
No, I just wanted to put it in some area just to make it.
I love it. I love how that looks. Oh my god, no. No. Sorry.
Did you roll both?
It is such a pretty day. Okay, so round one was Breakthrough, the scenario Breakthrough. It's in the match play guide. I played against a Minas Tirith army. They had Aragorn, King Elisar. And I actually pulled out the win. So in this objective, there's 4 objectives on the field. There's one on the center line and then one on either side of the opponent's camp. And you want to have your models on that side. And with 5 models that walk, it's a little scary going into this objective or this scenario. But the Ents pulled it out. I mean, since he wasn't really able to, Minas Tirith, they're wounding me on like 6 by something, depending. And unless you're King Elisar, but Treebeard got lucky in some fights. Also got a good number of hurls off to kind of make Aragorn prone, so he couldn't actually make strikes in a lot of scenarios. Good first game for the Ents. Feeling pretty good. The end result ended up being a 2-8 victory for Fangorn. Yeah, I'll update you after lunch. We're on a lunch break.
Think about. So I'm actually gonna.
All right, round 2 was Fog of War against Khand. It was against Khand and their chariots. He had 2 kings and a chieftain. We were playing Fog of War. I got absolutely tabled. I literally, all my Ents, Merry and Pippin, all got tabled. I got 1 victory point for getting a wound on my target, but man, it's It's almost fun when you get tabled because like you see it happening, you're like, there's no shot here. Like we like met halfway on the board and I didn't move an inch past that. And that's just what it is. It's, like I said, it's almost fun because you're like, there's no chance, so you're rooting for the other guy. I had a great time. So now we are on to round 3. Let's go.
This guy, he's good.
All right.
And
there's 3 tables outside, and I think that I sat at each one for each of these reports, and I did not mean to do that. Also, the sun's directly in my eyes, so I'm gonna turn a little bit. Game 3, Ents got tabled again. So I've faced against Bjornings. I've Beorn and Grim Beorn. Dude, bears are crazy. I think an Ent Bjorning army would go pretty wild. But yeah, great games. That was my last one. It was over. I probably 20 minutes, maybe. Just they're wounding me on 6s instead of 6 by something, and they all have 2 attacks. So when they're trapped, it's just a ton of attacks on my models. So you know, that's the way it goes. It's a dice game. When I get home, I will do like a bigger breakdown of all my games. But yeah, it's just the award ceremony now. We'll see how that goes. Hello, friends and allies. It's actually a couple days later. It's the Wednesday after the tournament. I had hurt my back like the Friday before, and I still wanted to compete in the tournament, so I was standing, leaning over the table for however many hours. Not great, and so I was hurting, and I was just in bed for pretty much until yesterday. But I just wanted to go over sort of a more in-depth tournament for myself. So I don't know if I mentioned it. If I did, I'm gonna skip this and edit it out. But I brought Treebeard with 2 Ents and Quick Beam and 1 additional Ent. I also had Merry and Pippin, so that makes my army total 7. 5 models that are actually walking around because Merry and Pippin I never took them off, but they did fall off. Good games overall. I had a good time. Game 1, I was going against, he signed up late, so I don't have access to his actual list, but he was running Gondor, Minas Tirith kind of army. I'm fairly confident that I know he had King Elisar. I'm pretty sure he had Madril and a bunch of Rangers, and he had pretty sure he also had Varagond. I'm not 100% sure, but it was a good game. It was a fun game. The person that I played is still fairly new to the game, so there were a couple of rules that he wasn't too sure about, and there were some like strategies he could have employed better, mostly positioning, but to his credit, the majority of his fate rolls were not good. My trees were hurling other models into combats, so everyone would be knocked prone. Specifically, I did this, I think, 2 or 3 times to Aragorn himself, so that even if Aragorn won the fight, he couldn't make strikes, because wounding my Ents on 4s is scary. The scenario was breakthrough, so you have an objective on your side of the board and their side of the board, and then 2 in the center, like across the center line. I pretty much immediately decided to not worry about my own objective unless he started to get there. I had Quick Beam in my army, so if I needed to get back to my own objective, I could within a couple turns. He kept units on his back objective and had kind of a spread across the backfield. He mostly focused on one objective, is where Elisar was, and then the other ones was the Rangers, so they were trying to take shots at the Ents. I don't know if any shots actually went through. He's wounding them on like 6x5s or 4s, so it's not likely. tried the nonetheless. Again, my Ents were throwing into combats, knocking people down, getting double strikes, and it just made for an easier game when I'm going against numbers like that, where I can kind of throw them around however I want to. I ended up breaking and then quartering him, and around this time, Treebeard was in combat with LSR, and then I started moving him towards his objective, his camp objective, and then I moved Quick Beam in because Quick Beam hadn't used really his might yet, so I was able to then kind of use Quick Beam's might against LSR, and then eventually for the last turn where I did quarter him, where he was officially quartered, there was one combat left. It was Quick Beam against, I'm pretty sure it's Baragon, and just a regular unit. But LSR was pretty close to him. He was like touching Baragon, and so what I did was I barged, so moved all the other units out, moved Quick Beam into LSR, and he was already at like 1 wound, no fate left. So I rolled the 6 and won that fight, and I was able to actually kill LSR the last turn. It ended up, the spread, he had one objective, I had his objective and one on the side, and there wasn't any models near mine, so I forego some points that way, but it ended up being an 8-2 victory for the Ents. Again, good game, loved the player. It's just, there's still some strategy to be learned there. Positioning where I can't hurl into combats and things of that nature. So round 2, I was going against Varix Khan. So some chariots, a lot, actually chariots and riders, and that's all it was. So it was an army full of bows, a lot of mobility. Game type was Fog of War, so I picked some random objective on the other side. We were kind of in like a frozen tundra area, so it was really just big pieces, and so I just picked like the middle one or something. His army list was specifically, it was a Khandish king on chariot, 7 horsemen and 1 chariot, another Khandish with 7 horsemen and a chariot, and a chieftain with 7 horsemen and a chariot. So it was 6 total chariots and a lot of horses. Now what this meant for me being an Ent army is usually I'd cause terror because, and it would be great because Khan doesn't have that great of courage, but chariots don't actually technically charge. So he's able to run his chariots into me and get off 2 strength 4 hits automatically. And then he's able to do that a couple times. And because they're strength 4 hits, he's only wounding me on 6s and not 6 by something. So it's actually, he got a lot of wounds out that way. He almost entirely took out an Ent with that. He was rolling really, really well. He was also playing really well, don't get me wrong, I don't want to say that. And then he's able to kind of throw his horsemen in as needed, get the traps, and sort of take out my Ents. I got completely tabled. With Fog of War, you pick a unit to keep alive, and you pick one you try to kill. I chose his chieftain just because less might, less fate, I think. I'm not 100% sure about Khan, but that was my thought process, and Merry and Pippin got a stone throw wound on him, so I was able to pick up 1 victory point for that game. Merry and Pippin always managed to get like 1 kill or 1 wound per game, which we love. But he actually tabled me. I had no models left, no Ents. So our lines met in the center of the field, and I don't think I got an Ent like even 2 or 3 inches onto his side of the board. He was very good at getting the charge on me. Just being able to, he also is very good about knowing like piercing strike, two-handing. That's like the next level of this game that I need to actually understand and get into. But he has that down. Like, he knows exactly what he should do, when he should do it, with those like special strikes. And he was cutting my Ents down on 5s in some cases. So it was a good game, it was a good learning experience, though I did not anticipate placing high this tournament with Ents. I brought Ents because I thought it'd be fun. Also, some things that I learned that they don't actually charge, because he started to do that, and I was like, hey man, you need to like make terror checks. He's like, well, they don't actually charge, they just are moving and then they're in contact with you. I looked over the rules like later that night or the next day, and yeah, it doesn't say charge anywhere that I can see, so unless I'm misunderstanding, regardless, he knew exactly how to play this army. To be like fair to me, he's like currently ranked 3rd in the whole Southeast right now. You know, I don't feel too bad that I lost to him. Very good competitor, love playing him. Actually played him 2nd round last game. Playing him 2nd round this one was really fun. We need to play one more game because now we're tied. But he ended up taking out my models, and I got 1 wound on my target, so I got 1 point and he walked away I think with 12 because he got all of his, he marched some horses around, got his objective, taking pot shots when he could. I think I took out maybe 3 models. Ents didn't roll particularly well that game or my next one, honestly, but Ents need a banner. They just do somehow, but that's another video. My next game was against Bjornings. I was against Beorn, Grim Beorn, and a bunch of Bjornings. I say a bunch, we had like the 2 lowest number model armies in the entire list. We got to the table and he was like, I've never played against somebody who has less models than me when I'm running Bjornings. So it was really funny. Bjornings having 2 wounds each just naturally as units is wild. And they also are burly, so they're wounding me on like 5s and 6s, and like the bears are wounding me on 4s. And because he has more models, he's able to get me like trapped, he's able to get more dice in the game, and I got tabled round 3 also. We were playing Assassination. I could have technically picked Merry and Pippin to be my assassin or whatever, but or he could have too, but we were just playing by the book. We were like, we have our 2 heroes, right? And so we're just going based off that. And when they're in bear form, they match like exactly with Treebeard and Quickbeam. They're fight 8 and 7 respectively, just like Treebeard and Quickbeam. So it was fight value, it was basically an even match. He just had more numbers than me. We're 2 beefy boy, low number armies. It's supposed to be a little strategic with Assassination. We just literally clashed like right there, round 1 or 2. I think it was round 1 that we had a fight. I think our game lasted maybe 25 minutes. A 700 point game lasting 25 minutes, you know that it's just wild. So then me and my opponent literally spent the rest of the hour and a half just walking around, looking at other games happening, eating snacks. It was actually kind of fun. Great player, very nice. He actually got 4th in the tournament. Hopefully the victory points from my game really got him out. I guess he ended up tabling me. I think I killed 1 or 2 Bjornings. So he got like max victory points and I got 0. So all in all, it was an 8-2 win, a 12-1 loss, and a 12-0 loss for the Ents. But it was a good time. I had a good time. You know, sometimes especially when you're bringing an army for fun, it's almost fun to get wiped because you're like rooting for the other guy. I think I said this in like my actual recap during it, but I lost 2 games getting entirely wiped, like completely tabled, and I had a great time. It was a good tournament, run really well. I had a great time. Okay, so the list that actually podiumed, I just wanted to go through those just because I feel like people might be interested. So in 3rd place was a Halls of Thranduil army. He had Thranduil on foot, so he would have the extra attack and all that business. He had 9 elves, 8 Palace Guard, and 1 Palace Guard with a banner. Then he had Palace Guard Captain, Markwood Elf with shield, 3 with glaive, Torio, and 3 elves with bow. I actually didn't get to play anybody who podiumed at this tournament, but they all seem like great guys. I've played this person before, and it was almost the same list except he had Legolas instead of Torio, and a few separate numbers because it was a 600 point game and this was a 700 point tournament. A great person to play against, super nice, and he really knows how to use Thranduil with the terror bubble and the extra attacks. He really knows how to throw Thranduil in where he needs to be, and I'm assuming that he used Tariel and the other bows to get off some good shots. Second place was someone who brought Pits of Dol Guldur. We're not surprised to see Azog in a podium list. He brought Azog with the white warg, 3 hunters, 5 Gundabad warrior with shield, 5 with spear and shield, 1 with a banner, and 1 fell warg. His second warband was Keeper of the Dungeons, 3 hunter orcs, 4 Gundabad orcs with shield, 4 with spear and shield. Third warband was just an Gundabad orc captain, 2 hunter orcs, 4 Gundabad warriors with shield, 3 Gundabad orcs with spear and shield. So just a lot of numbers, and Azog hitting like a freight train. Again, I didn't get to play any of these people actually this tournament. I'm sure their games went really well, obviously. And our first place was an Arnor list. Arnor is really coming out to play. They had Arbidui, 14 warriors, 1 with banner, Malbeth, 12 warriors, 1 with banner, Captain, 9 warriors, 3 hobbits, and another captain, 9 warriors, 3 hobbits. I saw a little bit of this army during my second game because it was playing on the table next to me, and the just ignoring wounds bubble really helps a lot. It was a pretty intense game. Having 55 models in your army is a lot. Congratulations to everyone that won. Super happy for you guys. Overall, I went into this knowing that Ents were not a competitive list, at least not by themselves. I feel like you can ally them and do really well. I know that there's the one that placed, I think, second in Australia. That was Ents and Saruman. And I'm assuming that it's, hurling into combats, sorcerers blasting into combats. I don't know. I'll probably take Ents again to a tournament, maybe try to align them with somebody. I think it would actually be kind of like a fun themey army to do Ents and Bjornings. I think that'd be really fun and cool, actually. We'll see what the future holds for me. I also think that an Ent Hobbit army would be really fun, so that you have just a fuck ton of numbers and the hitting power of the Ents. Sounds super fun. I have a couple friends that play Isengard, so maybe I'll try at some point the Ent and Saruman list. Thank you guys for watching, and if you like this tournament breakdown video, leave a comment, let me know, leave a like. I am planning on doing a lot of tournaments next year, probably not another one this year, and we should have a battle report coming up soon that I'm pretty excited about. It was actually a testing game for me, for my Ents. I played against, good old ally, and I'm excited for you guys to watch it. Thanks for being our friends and allies, and I will talk to you in the next one.